How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Nick Nielsen, and today we want to discuss Luis Castillo and the Los Angeles Dodgers being a main competitor with the Yankees for his signature. Now, we saw Luis Castillo yesterday against the Yankees in that, series loss to the Cincinnati Reds, which is extremely disappointing, but he looks phenomenal, man. He had 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. He looked like the type of pitcher that we kind of need right now, especially with the fatigue hitting the rotation with Luis Severino being placed on the 15-day IL with that lat strain, but doesn't seem to be too serious. Should be coming back after the All-Star break, but Luis Castillo obviously is a phenomenal player, has so much value. The question is, can the Yankees afford to get him? If they're unwilling to give up Oswald Peraza, and do the Los Angeles Dodgers have more prospects they can flip right now to acquire his services and really give themselves an edge going into the postseason, Nick? What are your thoughts on that, and how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing really well. Again, yesterday sucked. I mean, dropping a series to the Reds is never fun, but starting up a series against Boston is always fun. So hopefully the Yankees can end on a high note and go into the All-Star break. I guess limp into the All-Star break on a high note. I don't want the Dodgers to get Castillo because that's the second worst thing that could happen. The first worst thing that could happen is that Castillo goes to one of the AL East teams. So it's like, if the Yankees aren't going to get Castillo, then who's to say that someone like the Blue Jays or the Rays don't just say, screw it, we'll get Castillo? Like, I know the Dodgers are the most competitive team to get him because of their prospect capital, but either way, the Yankees should not just let him slip through their fingers and go to someone else. Like that's how you lose World Series, and those are moves that come back to bite you in the ass. And the Yankees know all about that. They've made some questionable moves in the past and missed out on some guys in the past. Never forget when they didn't go all in on Verlander and instead chose to get Sonny Gray. So, like, I don't want that to happen again this year. And on the flip side, though, if Castillo is dealt to the Dodgers and they do end up paying like more or less twice what the Yankees want to offer, or like a lot more than the Yankees want to offer, then maybe the Yankees just go get Montas for less. So, like, there's at least other options out there, but Castillo is the guy. Like, Castillo is the option. Like, he's the one that's on the market that everyone knows is available and is really, really good. Like, Montas is pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great pitcher, but I think Castillo is better than Montas, and I think that's a pretty, like, common viewpoint. So the Yankees can't miss out on both of them. And if they miss out on Castillo to the Dodgers, then the Dodgers team just got a lot better. And the potential World Series matchup just got even more difficult. Like a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. I don't know if Buehler's going to be back this season, like kind of looking. I don't know if he's even going to pitch at all. But either way, you got Kershaw, Gonsolin, Arias, Castillo. That is a disgusting playoff rotation. So I don't want them to get him. I want us to at least kind of, pony up a little bit. And if we're not going to play Peraza or call him up, trade the guy. Like, the dude would be the Reds' best player for the next decade.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely facts. So Luis Castillo this year has been absolutely phenomenal. This month in July, he's only given up 3 runs in 21 innings. And, you look at Jameson Taillon and even Nestor Cortez, it hasn't been altogether great. Nestor had a good game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But Taillon has been a liability. We spoke about him pretty in detail a couple days ago. He's been getting worse. Severino now injured, and he was one of the few guys that has been getting better. Montgomery's been getting worse. So, this is a guy who seems to be getting even better as the season's progressing. In June, had a 3.26 ERA, gave up 11 runs over 30 innings with 32 strikeouts, 40 ground balls. I mean, he's forcing double-digit ground balls in almost every single game.
Yeah, his ground
except
ball
for the Yankees yesterday.
55% right now. Since June
Right.
1st, it's 55%. Like, and for reference,
Right.
Taillon and Nestor are both under 40%, under 37%. So it's like, that's like a 18% decrease or like difference between them. And that's huge. And he's also striking out roughly 10 batters per 9 since June 1st. Like, I'm mainly going off June 1st because May he came back from an injury because he missed a lot of April and some of May. So, like, I'm basically going off of like 2 months worth of, like, a month and a half worth of sample size for Castillo, and everything checks the boxes. Like, his velocity's back. He was throwing a hundo yesterday in the 7th inning, which was crazy. And he knows how to work his pitches. Like, Ryan and I talked about it last night in the post-game recap. His ability in pitch selection is what separates him from a lot of other pitchers. Like, he knows what his best pitch is. When he was struggling to find his location or getting calls, he would go to his 4-seam fastball, or he would go to his changeup because he knows those are his 2 best pitches. Whereas some of the Yankee starters, you've seen it, they get lost sometimes. They try to nibble. They try to be too cute. They throw 5 pitches, which I like, but I don't like it when they're throwing the wrong pitch at the wrong times. Like Garrett Cole, we've seen try to stay away from his fastball a little bit when he doesn't have the location. But it's Garrett Cole. Your best pitch is your fastball. You pump that shit 100. Like no one can hit that. Like let's be real here. So Castillo, he's everything and then some. He's also like a great guy. It seems he's like likes to have fun. Clearly roots for his team. And he also said that he'd cut his dreads if he had to join the Yankees. So that'd be pretty dope. Like the fact that he's willing to do whatever it takes to come to the Yankees and have a winning opportunity would be pretty cool. I'm not one for the rule. Like at the end of the day, if you have a beard or if you have long hair, I don't think that really affects your professionalism. However, I'm not the Yankees, so I can't hate. But the fact that the Castillo is willing to do that, like, speaks bounds. Just what do you think, man? Do you think the Dodgers are the more likely team to get him now? How are you feeling about it?
I think with Luis Severino being placed on the IL, it puts general manager Brian Cashman in a really, really difficult spot where he has to make a move. And
Yeah,
whether that be a lower level starter, but I'll tell you what, pitching wins championships. And at the end of the day, the Yankees don't have a number 2 behind Garrett Cole. Honestly, Luis Castillo would be pushing Garrett Cole for that A spot most likely.
yeah,
So, you're talking about having a 1-2 punch that is going to carry you through the postseason. Right now, who is your 2 and 3 guys? Like Cortez, I don't know if he's going to be, able
yeah,
to be as effective, just simply because 1, he's never made a start in a postseason game, and 2, you're also talking about, a guy who has only pitched over 150 innings once in his career. Last season, he's already well on his way to breaking that mark. So the fatigue may be settling in. He may be in a pretty tough spot. So, when I'm looking at this Yankee team, Jameson Taillon, am I going to trust? I can't trust him right now against the Oakland Athletics, let alone in October against the Rays or against, the Dodgers in the World Series. You know what I mean? Like you need another ace to beat these teams.
yeah.
And Castillo is that good. He will give you that 1-2 punch. Your third starter will be like the one that's like, okay, maybe he'll get battered out, maybe not. I mean, I still trust Severino. I think that him or Monty would be good number 2s.
Agreed.
It depends. Maybe Cortez is killing at the end of the year, and they're like, okay, we feel confident rolling with him. But Castillo is that good. He really solves a lot of problems for this rotation. He's 29 years old. You get him 1.5 years, so that way next year you can continue to compete as well. Like you said before, he has a 48.5% ground ball rate, a little bit down from his career highs of like really approaching 60% the last 2 years. But he's having just a tremendous campaign. He has a really good pitch mix up. His sequence is pretty diverse. Throws that four-seam fastball at about 31.5%, change up at 26%, that sinker at 21.5%, slider at 21%. So if you're Matt Blake, I wouldn't even make him throw that sinker more than he already is, because the sinker is his worst pitch right now. Batters are hitting 300 off of it with a 435 slugging percentage. So I'm really focusing on that four-seam fastball. Like you said, it's hitting triple digits now. The slider and changeup are absolutely crushing. And that sinker is more or less just a movement pitch to keep batters confused about the four-seam fastball. So his pitch sequence is perfect. I don't think he needs to mess with anything if the Yankees were to acquire him. But again, like it doesn't seem like they want to give up Oswald Peraza or Anthony Volpe, which I do understand. The question is, who can they supplement one of those guys with to convince the Reds of doing that trade? It has to be either Wesneski or Waldichuk have to be involved in that equation, I'd imagine. What do you think?
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because like the thing is with the Dodgers, if the Dodgers do have more like the better prospects, like aside from Volpe, and honestly, I'd still say Dominguez and then Peraza. Those are our clear cut best prospects. The next guys are all kind of, in my opinion, like grouped together, like for great prospects that are not that like S tier of prospect. The Dodgers, on the other hand, have a lot of really good prospects. However, I just don't know if they want to give them up, because like I imagine the Reds will be asking for like Michael Busch or Bobby Miller, or I believe Pepio. Ryan Pepio, or like Miguel Vargas or something like that. Like those guys are all like top 100 prospects, and the Reds are going to want one of them. So it just basically will come down to who wants him more, the Yankees or the Dodgers. And if the Yankees end up not overpaying because they don't want to lose Volpe for Castillo, I would understand that. Don't get me wrong. But if they don't give Peraza for Castillo, then I'll be like, they have to have a plan on the back burners that they're already working on. But if we come like in the next 2 weeks or so, and we're still talking about like, and let's say Castillo's been traded to the Dodgers, and we're still talking about the Yankees trying to find another arm, I'm going to be kind of pissed, because at that point we're approaching the deadline, like the end of the deadline, and we're basically trying to find scraps or someone that we can get, and every team knows that what we're looking for, and we've lost basically all leverage because Castillo's gone. So it's like the Yankees need to not be like hesitant and pull the trigger, get Castillo, like whatever the package may be, I don't know. Or B, get someone else and then say, look, LA, you can overpay for Castillo. Because there's other options out there, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I bet you if the Reds get like Bobby Miller or Michael Bush for Luis Castillo, then I'm imagining like Zach Gallen will probably go for a little bit less than that. So it's like if we give up Peraza for Zach Gallen, I wouldn't be mad. Like Zach Gallen's a great pitcher, and he's got, I think, 2.5 years of control. So it's like there's options out there if we don't get Castillo. I just don't want to swing and miss on everything because that's happened before in the past, and I don't want it to happen again. Like, I don't want the Yankees to be like, yeah, we're good. We like where we're at. Because honestly, I'm fine with them doing that at like shortstop and saying, okay, we're fine with IKF. That's fine. Move around other positions then. Get other positions. Bolster other positions. If you're not going to play Peraza or Cabrera, I know Cabrera's a little bit different because he just came back from a 2-month injury, then trade one of them, please. Because at this point, IKF's not been the answer. I'm sorry. And come down the stretch, IKF's not going to be the answer. But if we're going to live with that, then go get Castillo or go get Montas. So that way we know the pitching is top class. And like you said, pitching wins championships. Look at the Braves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, I think the Yankees offense is more than capable of being extremely productive throughout the season. I just don't trust the pitching. I don't think we ever really have the fact that Cortez, Taillon, and Severino were all pitching as well as they were. And as consistent as they were was it seemed like an anomaly, and I guess it was an anomaly because you just can't maintain that level of success for that long.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. So I'm not surprised that they're hitting a wall right now. The question is, how do you supplement those innings? Who do you call upon? You got Domingo Germán, you got JP Sears, but again, like, you need to be winning these games too. Like, you can't start we're 3.5 games up over the Dodgers and Houston Astros in all of baseball, and they're closing in
That's what I'm
fast.
saying.
At
Like,
least
it
we're
used to be like
still good.
7.5 games, I feel like. And now it's
Yeah,
like
8 games. It was
3.5.
at 8.
Yeah,
And now it's
we're like
3.5.
we're no longer this comfortable, clear-cut best team in baseball right now. Like, we
Yeah.
have competition. The Dodgers are almost as
And
good as we are. The
this
Astros.
was always going to happen.
Yeah,
This
I
was
mean,
never
we were on pace
possible
for like
to maintain.
130 and 30. Like, there's no way that was going to happen.
Right.
But we
It's
can't
because
be
the pitching,
dropping
the starting
series
pitching
to the
isn't good.
Reds. Yeah, and it's because the pitching. Like, starting pitching did not do their job against the Reds. Like, I will say, Nestor had a great start yesterday. But, like, aside from that, it was a very meh pitching series. And we got outdueled by the Reds. Like, I understand we faced Castillo yesterday and he pitched a gem, but Nestor went toe-to-toe with Castillo. Every other day, the other 2 games, it was not even like, it was like, what's happening here? How are we struggling to hit home runs off this team? How is Mike Minor not getting absolutely like shelled here? Like, there are some situations where we could improve upon. Starting pitching is clearly one of them. And Castillo is the main guy. Like, the New York Post said that the Dodgers and Yankees are basically the 2 cut favorites for Castillo. Maybe someone else like jumps in there to try to get him because they really need pitching help. But those 2 are the teams. So if we lose him to the Dodgers, it's going to sting. Because the Dodgers took Freddie.
Yeah.
And Matt Olson went to the Braves. And then we ended up getting Rizzo, which honestly has worked out really, really nicely. I'm very happy with that. But there's been moves in the past where it's like, oh, the Yankees could have done that. Like, we talk about the Scherzer and Turner deal a lot. And they gave up Gray and Keibert Ruiz, who were both top 100 prospects, yes. But both guys were not even in the top 25. So it's like we probably could have given up a similar package for the same players. So I don't want to miss out on that again. I don't want to have another one of those situations.
Yeah, me too. But guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below on if you'd be willing to really unload the farm for Castillo, because the Dodgers are definitely going to be in the mix. They're going to be tough to overcome in that sense. And the Yankees starting rotation definitely is going through some adversity. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you think that they'll bounce back, if you think this is a serious issue they need to address. But clearly, the fatigue is setting in, and fatigue is a legitimate problem because it's not like we have months off where these guys can rest and get back to normal. They have a week on the All-Star break, and then they're back to pitching every couple days. So we're going to need help, whether it be JP Sears, whether it be Waldichuk, that's an opportunity, whether it be Domingo Germán. You saw Jonathan Loaiza get batted around. Just some nice hitting, honestly. Not bad. The pitches didn't look too bad. They were just some nice pieces of hitting.
Yeah.
So the Reds, definitely had our number this time. But I think, Boston series, they always play us hard. We need to get to the All-Star break without losing this next series against Boston. I think we'll be
dropping
okay.
any more bodies. Can't be losing any more people to injury.
We can't be losing. I mean, Donaldson got hit in the hand yesterday. That
was luckily it doesn't look like it's broken, but at the same time, those always look like broken hands. Anytime you take a 95-mile-an-hour fastball to the fingers, that's never good. So we're limping to the All-Star break, man. We need to get there. If we can beat Boston this weekend, take 2 out of 3, I will be very, very happy because that means we ended on a high note and we're getting to the finish line, which is, or the checkpoint, I will say, the midway point.
Yeah, agreed. But guys, hope you enjoyed this video from Fireside Yankees. Make sure to drop a like and subscription as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.